Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to Basement Floor Radio. I am Tyler,
I'm Jake.
and today we are going to talk NBA free agency, specifically Kevin Durant and Dwayne Wade. Of course, we'll throw a little LeBron James in there because he still hasn't signed either. But
I
let's
thought I
go.
thought Wade was gonna go to Cleveland. I really did.
I honestly, I thought Wade was going to stay with Miami. I thought he was going to find a way. I knew he wanted to stay either with Miami or go to a winning team. So,
Before we kick that off, what do you want?
let's
Just
go
wanna
right let's go right into Wade since he's the most recent news, and then we'll get into Kevin Durant near the end and figure out if he made the right decision or is he going to regret his decision. I doubt it, but so Dwayne
Wade.
spends 13 seasons with the Miami Heat.
13.
And
That's a long time for a basketball player.
Well, it's a long time for any major sports guy to stay with a team. You don't see that very often. So his loyalty was there. His loyalty. But somehow he felt disrespected, and I can't blame him. I mean, he was never the highest paid player for the Miami Heat, and 13 seasons. What do you think about that?
Yep. So, all right. I think the Miami Heat have, I don't know what they think they got down there, but they think their shit don't stink. They really, I mean, and me personally, after LeBron left, he probably should have been the highest paid player on that team.
Yeah, but they made Chris Bosh the highest paid player, and for one, because he was already the highest paid player after LeBron left. When the big three came together, it went LeBron James, then Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade took discounts so he could play with these two. So, Dwayne Wade, I admire your loyalty. I admire your honor and just how well you handle yourself as a professional.
They love their Heat down there too. So it was like, I bet you Miami is like probably feeling it a little bit.
Yeah.
After
you
yesterday.
live down there, so you can explain kind of firsthand.
I mean, like, people love their Heat. They got Heat license plates. I mean, they have their own arena for. I mean, most NBA teams share a stadium with their hockey counterpart team, and the Heat have their own stadium, and it is ridiculously expensive to go to a Heat game. Like, I remember trying to go one time, and it was like $90 a ticket for like top level seats.
That's
like,
crazy.
Upper bowl.
We paid that to go to a Denver Broncos game.
I mean, compared to when you want to go to a Nuggets game, you can get lower bowl for
About
$30.
Yeah.
So
Depends on the game. And
so I mean, the Heat down in Miami is huge, and I think Dwayne Wade was a huge part of that culture, that Miami Heat swag, whatever they had, But like you said, I mean, if you get no love from management, then what's the guy supposed to do? Like, I understand, like, he stayed there for 13 seasons, and he loves his fans. It's not like he's, betraying his fans. They made a deal. He actually was trying to make a deal with them, from what I heard.
Yeah.
He was trying to say, hey, like let's negotiate. And they were like, this is the offer. You could take it or leave it, kind of deal. And I mean, a player you've had on your team for 13 seasons, you don't do that to your,
exactly.
And so I mean, I don't blame him for leaving. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of Heat fans that are like, probably really disappointed in his selection of what he did. And
But I think he had every right to make that choice. I mean, he probably one of the players that deserved to make that choice and was, in there long enough to be able to have that choice as one, an NBA star, and two, as a loyal Miami Heat. He, I think, earned that decision. And I think that what took so long to make his decision is because he didn't really want to leave the Heat. But he also really wanted to be the highest paid player on the team. And Chicago gave him that. Chicago was able to give him 2 years, $47 million for 2 years. I mean, granted, Chicago had to trade a couple players in order to
So
open up the cap
wait.
space. But
Bulls gave him $47 million,
yep, for 2 years.
and Nuggets offered him 50.
But that's what I'm saying. So earlier I said that I think he wanted to go to a winning team. He wanted to go to a team that he knew he could win at, and had players that could help him along the way. Chicago's not a bad team. They have Jimmy Butler, who's been one of their star players in recent years. And
we've talked about Rose. If he
Rose
stays
is
healthy.
gone.
Yeah.
Rose is gone, though. Rose is in New York.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Did
Rose
he?
got traded to New York. We talked about that in episode 1, I believe.
Well, we talked that he was possibly going there.
No, I think we ended up confirming that. So,
all right.
Either way, it's confirmed now he's in New York. So it's Jimmy Butler and it's Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade gets to be the star there. And granted, they had to trade off a couple veterans to open up some cap space for him. But there was never Cleveland. That rumor was just basically him wanting to play with LeBron. But I think that never took traction because, one, the most that they could offer him was $3.4 million.
Yeah.
And now he's making, what, $23.5 million a year? So
also, I don't think he wants to be like
off.
I don't think he wants to be like the back shadow of LeBron again.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, not saying that he was, but I'm sure he doesn't want to be like in LeBron's space. I think he wants to do like his own thing. He wants to be the stud of his team, and he will. Chicago's gonna be a force to be reckoned with. They're gonna get back to their winning culture, I think, with Dwayne Wade going there. I was gonna do a rant yesterday on YouTube, and I just never got it. I made a video, but I wanted to add more to it. But I wanted to talk about why he should go to the Denver Nuggets, because the Nuggets offered him quite a bit more on top of what the Bulls did. But like you said, he wants to win. But my counter to it was he may not win this next season if he would have came to the Nuggets, but they had 3 first-round draft picks, and they would have built a team for that second year of his contract. I think that he could have built, the same thing that like Peyton Manning did. He makes people better. Dwayne Wade makes his team better, and when you got a bunch of young guys, that we drafted this year.
And they would absolutely follow his lead. Absolutely. But my thinking is, look at the West compared to the East. You have the Clippers, the Spurs, Golden State now with Kevin Durant. You're looking at, and you got Dallas still there. I mean, OKC is still, with Russell Westbrook, still a good team, even though he might be traded. But still, you got 5-6 teams that are every year playoff contenders, where the East is not so strong. You got Cleveland, and in recent years you've had Toronto and Indiana. With Chicago's been there too. So him, by going to Chicago, he knows automatically we're a team that's going to make the playoffs. With the Nuggets, you don't actually know that. And
True.
To give up five extra $1 million, I think it's totally worth. I think he made the right decision between Chicago and Denver.
Do you think he's on legacy mode now? Like he's just trying to build his legacy kind of thing, and that's why he went that way?
I think
he's trying to go for...
already kind of remade his legacy. He's already won 3 NBA championships, and he...
Yeah, but look at some of those players. Do you think he wants... Like, what I'm saying is he wants to be up there with the Michael Jordans.
Yeah, absolutely. Who doesn't?
The Shaqs, all those players. I mean, not saying that he's not there yet, but I think going to the Nuggets isn't going to do it.
No, obviously not. I think he has a better chance of winning an NBA championship in Chicago. Absolutely. And that would help his legacy. But I think it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that, because if it was just for the money, he would have went to Denver. If it was just for winning, he would have went to Cleveland for $3.4 million. Like, I think it was just Chicago was the best fit that had an equal ratio of the money, winning, and solidifying his legacy.
Okay. All right. I know my boy's pretty happy. He's from Chicago.
Well, and D-Wade's
you're out there, buddy.
D-Wade's from Chicago as well. Well, Chicago area. Not exactly Chicago itself, but Chicago area. So to him, it's like going home. So I think it's
Chicago's nice. Chicago's a good sports town.
Great sports town.
You know,
Great sports town.
I honestly, when I got the alert yesterday saying that he went to the Bulls, I was like, wow, I didn't even know the Bulls were like even in the running for him.
Well, and when he was a
So,
free agency a few years back, they were in the running for him as well.
well, you didn't really hear nothing about the Bulls, and then all of a sudden they sneak up in there. And
Well,
I mean, I'm not surprised.
I heard something about the Bulls initially, but then they got turned off, and it was the Nuggets, the Bucks, the Heat were always still in the running.
Well,
then
they got
Cleveland
turned off
came out.
because they had the less money. So everybody probably just like, he ain't going there because it's all about money. So all these analysts, they throw in that money factor, and they're like, oh, he ain't going to go for that. But, you know,
They made it work. They made it work.
he obviously went for the reasons that he wanted to go for, and they were, what's the contract deal?
2 years, $47 million.
2 years, $47 million. Well, let's talk about that real fast, because you shared a meme about, what was it, 9 or 11?
There was 11 quarterback guaranteed money, which was roughly around $547.8 million, something like that. And then when free agency started, there was 4 players, and it wasn't even. I mean, they're big name guys, but they're not the D Wades, the Kevin Durant's, LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
But out of the 4 players, their guaranteed money added up to just as much as 11 quarterbacks. So, if somebody can please explain how the CBA works and how that is possible for a team to do that, I would just please go ahead and give us a shout out. Give us a little information on
Twitter, hit us up at Basement Radio on Twitter. Do it.
that.
No hashtag. We don't have a hashtag yet. We need to come up with a hashtag.
Yeah, we do. I don't know. If you guys got any ideas about that too, let us know. I like D Wade. I've always liked D Wade. I think he's a tremendous athlete, basketball player, and I think he handles himself the right way. He doesn't go out and try to be this and that, and he's not fake. He goes out there, he knows what he wants, and he works for what he wants. And I think now that he's been kind of, overshadowed with other players throughout his career, I think he's been that main guy, but now he wants to be that main guy and make the most money. And I think he's earned that.
Okay.
But you got to think about that too, is he's injury prone with his knees. He's been hurt quite often the past few years with his knees. Can he stay healthy?
How much longer do you think he's got? Do you think he's got the 2 years?
Yeah.
So obviously that makes more sense now because, he probably doesn't have that much time left in the league, and he don't have time, trying to train a young Nuggets team or like you said, he's going for trying to do. I'm sure he's trying to win next year.
Absolutely.
Right away.
Absolutely. My thing is, what's with the 2-year contracts? I mean, Kevin Durant got a 2-year contract as well, and I got to think, these are guys that want long-term deals. These are guys, if they were their star quality transferred to the NHL star quality, it's like Steven Stamkos. You sign long-term extensions. Like, I just don't understand, especially for Kevin Durant, who's a little bit younger. I don't understand why you wouldn't sign a longer extension. Maybe the money's not right. Maybe they're just trying to keep their core together, bring Kevin Durant back in.
You think maybe that's the culture of the NBA now?
It could be, because LeBron James signed a 2-year contract, opted out of this year, which made him a free agent. And so,
do you think that maybe that's what the NBA is trying to do, to spread out the players so that you don't have Kobe's playing in LA and they only play in LA? They're trying to
city or different other cities
trying to grow the sport
starts,
maybe by
but I think
getting
they're
the
hurting
star
the sport.
player.
I think that's hurting the sport because all these players are going to choose, like Kevin Durant. He chose to go to where a team just went 73-9 the regular season. What does Kevin Durant add to that? Probably another 3-4 wins, at least. And so with D Wade going to Chicago, I think, like I said, he previously wanted to go to Chicago. It just wasn't at the right time. But I mean, maybe that's them trying to grow the sport, but them trying to build these super teams, I think, is hurting the sport. I mean, because
Yeah.
you're only going to watch us here in Denver. We don't even watch the Nuggets. We
No,
rarely watch
we
the
don't.
Nuggets.
They can't even fill a stadium.
I'd
Really,
much
but
rather watch Golden State versus Chicago or versus Cleveland.
you're right.
So
That's what I'm saying. Like when I was down in Miami, they had the big three there. So it was like every year it was like mad. Every single game, you went to it. I don't know how they are doing now. I mean, I don't live down there in Miami anymore, but
they did pretty good this year. I think they were the 3rd or 4th seed.
but
Correct me on that.
But
if
that's
I'm
what
wrong,
but that's what you're saying. Like super teams,
Yeah.
it's and then they just get shifted around to wherever.
Exactly.
Like Golden State.
I could see this though. I could see LeBron James signing another 2-year contract, and maybe him, D Wade, and Melo, maybe even Chris Paul meet up at one team, and they all split the money some ways and become one super team. And this is what frustrates me. You guys want to play together? Go play for the U.S. Olympic team. You guys have done that. You guys have enjoyed that. But when you come back, you don't see a bunch of NHL stars trying to get together to create one super team. We spread out, and we try to, we have our own teams. We have that team, and then we have the USA team. So if you guys want to play together, go play on the USA team, and then spread out.
They don't even do that in football.
No.
I mean, there are players that want to play with other players, but it's not like, Tom Brady's. Everybody wants to play with Tom Brady, but they know it's not a realistic thing, and
you don't see the best quarterback, wide receivers trying to meet up and team up.
Also, I think
New England got lucky, and they got Gronk, who's arguably the best tight end ever, and he just came into his own. They drafted him. That's fair. I understand that, but you don't see, let's see, Calvin Johnson, before he retired, wanted to trade to New England Patriots.
Well, what I'm saying too is I think coaches have more of a say in football, what kind of players, what type of players they want, and the team chemistry thing actually goes into how coaches develop their teams. In basketball, I feel like basketball is just an all-star game. Like every game is an all-star game. Let's get the best players. The best players kind of do. I mean, I don't even know why we have coaches other than let's pay them a few $1 million just to sit there and scream and yell for the TV cameras. And I know I'm gonna get probably a lot of haters on that. Coaches actually coach, Popovich and all these other coaches. They're like the best. They are good coaches. They've done successful things in college and whatnot. But like you said, they go and hey, we might be able to get some room on our salary cap. D Wade, why don't you come to Cleveland, bro?
Yeah. Well, I mean, then they do that. LeBron James and D Wade just went to Europe together, so I mean, it's not out of the question that they do that, and they try to convince players to come elsewhere. But I mean, even hockey players do that. They try to be like, "Yeah, dude, come join our squad."
Every sport does.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I feel like basketball.
That's part of recruiting.
You see it bigger in basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. I think eventually with these 2-year contracts, I just got to think in the long run.
They don't have franchise tags, do they?
No, I don't believe so. Like I said, if anybody knows how the NBA CBA works, please fill us in. We'd love to know how that works a little bit more. We'll try to look that up too and give a little more intake on that. But as far as these 2-year contracts, I just don't understand. When you become a professional athlete, I feel like you want the long-term security. And granted, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, D Wade, they got sponsors, and they're making probably more money outside of playing basketball with the sponsors. So I don't think it's necessarily.
I think that's how most
and maybe that's where they get their long-term security from, is from the sponsors.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be one thing I could think of.
I guarantee you LeBron makes more in endorsements than he does a year.
Absolutely. I think it ended up being
playing actual basketball.
I think he makes like $50 million a year almost.
Do you follow him on Twitter? I know we do. The podcast follows him on Twitter.
I have not. I think I used to. I don't know.
I mean, he's been a lot.
I don't get
he's
on my
involved
Twitter
a lot,
as much
man.
anymore. I get on ours, so I haven't seen anything from him. But the news is, you know what? I'm happy for Chicago. They finally got a player that they thought Derrick Rose could be, but he was hurt. They finally got a player that can be that guy that maybe not be as good as MJ, but can kind of fill the void.
What do you think that does for this? Just real quick, what do you think that does for the city of Chicago? You think they're like gonna show that Bulls pride that they once had? I mean,
Oh, absolutely. And I know they've shown it in recent years because they've been with when they got Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah. I mean, they were pretty good. So they had great fan base. Now with D Wade coming in, hometown boy, I think the fan base grows back to where it was. And a lot of
Chicago's a
people are
rough
excited.
town.
Well, Chicago is a rough town, but
Chicago's a
Chicago
rough town.
has a great history of their sports teams, and I think fans are gonna love to see
I think they'll come back. They'll come out of the woodworks for sure. The Bulls fans will, and they'll be excited this year.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And
they have no reason not to be.
I mean, in Chicago, you got to prove yourself too. So D Wade, be ready for that as well. I mean, it's a tough. Like I said, it's tough to. He's from there. He knows what it is, but. You know, they're going to be the fans are going to be, I'm going to say, like, I'm not going to say hard, but they're going to, they're going to expect a lot out of him. I think, and I think he can come
Well, I think
and bring it too.
comes with territory, but I think they expect more of the team, and I don't think they're going to be as harsh as they would if it was the Bears
No.
or the Blackhawks, maybe. But Chicago is a great sports town, and I'm sure Chicago is happy to have you, Jonathan Tays, Patrick Kane, Jay Cutler. I'm sure you guys will all get together and reminisce about Chicago sports, but it'll be a good time, and it'll be interesting to see next season because New York Knicks should be good, Cleveland's going to be good again, as well as the Bulls now, I believe, are going to be pretty good. So, and Miami Heat, they still got Chris Bosh, and they got a couple good young players down there too, so they'll be pretty decent. Toronto's good. Indiana's good. It's gonna be a tighter race, I believe, in the East next year for sure.
All right, cool. Well, before we switch over to the other big free agency topic, what else has gone on NBA wise, smaller other than Durant?
Smaller than Durant.
Any shocks and
Let's see.
surprises?
Ginobili's coming back for another year with Spurs. He's not retiring. Like I said, LeBron James.
That guy will play until he can't even walk anymore.
Well, until he can't flop anymore. But yeah, yeah, I'm not a big fan. Hate Ginobili. Flops too much for me. But I think let's see. I think LeBron James opting out. I don't think is a big deal. I think he's still gonna go back to Cleveland. I just think they're working on. He's taking his vacation and they're working on the money and. See where you can get him. I think his is going to be more of a long-term deal than a 2-year deal. I could be wrong. Seeing all these other 2-year deals,
so
he could be right up there.
Him opting out
makes him a free agent.
But it opens up a little bit of salary cap space because it's not guaranteed money.
It does.
So, I mean... Well, there could be a strategy for him because he wants to stay long term in Cleveland. Say, hey, if I opt out of this second year, or if I opt out of the contract, then there's potential for another
I think
2-year contract.
That's what I think. The reason he did it was he'd opt out, and that way it would open some cap space to get some more guys in. He could take less money the first year and have more money in the long term. Because even though LeBron James is over the 30 hump, he's still in his prime. He's still the best player out there, all-around best player out there. I mean, he plays both ends of the floor. He's just a freak athlete. So, but I mean, outside of that, I wouldn't worry Cleveland. I wouldn't worry. I don't think he's going anywhere for sure. I think he's 100% staying, just trying to work out the contract.
You know who we haven't talked about on these shows? That I feel like what the heck happened to him? Whatever happened to Blake? Blake Griffin.
He's just been in the shadows. He's still with the Clippers.
I mean, he was smashing it a few years ago, and then we haven't heard.
They still have their Lob City thing going on, but I mean, it's different now. I don't know. He's just not. He's not the player that he just didn't grow as much as they thought he was. I mean, he's still a good player, but
He wasn't the superstar that they were hoping for.
nah.
But he's still at the Clippers, right? His
Yep.
contract's good.
As far
What
as I
other
know.
big names out there, NBA wise?
Russell Westbrook might get.
I heard there was tension between him and Durant.
There was tension between him and Durant, and we'll get to Durant too. But we're
Getting out
covering the little guys here, and then we really want to talk about Durant. But Russell Westbrook, I guess, and Kevin Durant had a little bit of a tiff, and that was part of the reasoning that Durant left to go to
That's what I heard too.
Golden State. So, hey, you know what? Sometimes that's it. And Russell Westbrook, he's the kind of guy that he wants to be in the shadow. He wants to be that guy. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with him because next year he becomes a free agent, and so I don't think Thunder want to have the same thing happen to him with Durant, where they just lose him, rather than where they could trade him this year to either LA or the Knicks or the Bulls or even. I doubt they'll trade him to the Bulls though because Dwayne Wade's there, Rajon Rondo's there, Jimmy Butler's there, so they got a good squad. But they could trade him and get stuff back, first round picks, maybe even a player or two.
Okay.
So I think he'll get traded this year. But it'll be interesting. He would have to, in my opinion, re-sign with that new team, and that new team would have to be comfortable with them knowing that he's going to re-sign long term with us, rather than just having him for half a year or so.
Gotcha. But you want to jump into it now?
Jump into
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into that. So, talked about Russell Westbrook, LeBron James. Now, the main free agent of the summer, Kevin Durant. Shocker, I think, to most people.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I guess to basketball fans, yes. To me, not really.
I mean, to me, even a guy just watches all kinds of sports, I thought he was going to go back to OKC. And I thought if he was going to go anywhere, I didn't think it would be Golden State. I mean, don't get me wrong, they got a great crew over there. I can understand him going there. But I thought maybe, he might go somewhere else, maybe LA,
I thought LA had a shot at him. And because I didn't think the Warriors had enough cap space, which they don't, but they got.
Well, they
gotta
do
get rid
because
of some
still
people,
because Steph Curry, Draymond Green. Actually, Steph Curry might have re-signed, but Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, I think are still on their first round initial contracts when they came into the NBA. I could be wrong. Please, if I am wrong, give us a shout out, and we'll correct ourselves next episode. But
this is a super team for damn sure.
for damn sure,
And,
it's bigger than the Miami Heat when LeBron and Chris Bosh went there.
You got that starting line now that is just going to be stupid good. They went for the record last year. What?
And they
you
beat
think
it.
that they try to go for to beat their own record?
Absolutely. But this time, they have to win a ring. If they don't win a ring and beat their record, the Bulls are still going to have that over you. 72-10 just has a better ring to it. Better ring to it, all right?
If it was my team, my goal would say, screw the record, let's get that ring.
Absolutely.
I mean, in their minds, they thought they had it this year.
Yeah. Well, and they should have. I mean, all the way, they went up 3-1 in the series, and you let Cleveland come all the way back and lose, I believe, 2 at home? 2 at home for them to come back and...
Yep.
So, especially Game 7. Game 7 at home, that's got to be a shoe-in win. You got to win that one. And the fact that you didn't, I mean, you can blame it on Curry being hurt or whatever. It's 82 games season long, plus another 16 wins just to win the NBA Finals. So I'm thinking everybody was probably hurt a little bit. So I have a hard time making that an excuse, especially at that level. So,
Um,
my eye messed up here.
yeah, you still look pretty.
Look a little. They did my makeup all wrong today, I guess. I don't know. There's a little shadow, maybe. I don't know.
I would have liked to see Kevin Durant stay at Oklahoma, but we all knew it wasn't going to happen. I think he's done really, really well with that team. And I know that I'm reading some articles about, the mayor talking about, what did we do?
Yeah.
That why did you leave us kind of thing. And I think it was just time for him to move on.
Yeah, I agree, maybe. But I think it was more Russell Westbrook was trying to take over the show, and I think we all can agree maybe Kevin Durant's a little bit better of a player. And he's more down to earth. He's not as cocky, arrogant as Westbrook. But making this move, I think, after bashing LeBron James for going to Miami and creating a super team, and then making this move is hypocritical to me. I mean, I don't understand how you're going to call someone out, LeBron James, and then do the exact same thing, but with a better team.
Everybody sells out, man.
With a better team.
Everybody sells out. You know what I'm saying?
Stephen A. Smith said it was the weakest move he's ever seen, and I never agree with that guy. But this one, I got to think it was probably the weakest move I've seen. I mean, LeBron James, the way he did it was cowardly. But it wasn't as weak as Kevin Durant going to a team that made it to the finals back-to-back, won one, and then broke the regular season record. So, to me, you got to think...
He's probably a little frustrated.
He wants to win one. I
get
it.
2 years going to the playoffs, and then they should have gone to the finals.
They should have beat the Warriors this year.
And that can be frustrating. And honestly, I think somebody just shat in his cereal. Excuse my language, but Westbrook, and he's like, "Fine, I'm gonna go win an NBA championship. I'm going to the Warriors."
Yeah,
$54 million. That's a lot.
2 years, $54 million.
That's a lot of money.
Was that $27 million?
That's a lot of money for just 2 years.
$27 million a year. Hey, Kevin, if you ever see this, I will take $50,000 of that. I know you can spare it. We'll take $50,000.
What's up with you with $50,000?
I don't know.
Last episode, it was $50,000 too.
Was it? I don't remember that. Yeah. Either way,
he's like, "Give it to me. I'll go to Vegas."
I'll do something with it. I mean, I could pay off my student loans.
You're gonna boost the economy with that $50,000.
Well, someone's got to. Maybe I'll invest it.
So you think it was kind of like a shady thing for him to, not a shady thing, but kind of like
it was a hypocritical thing.
Yeah, a hypocritical thing to go and say, "Yo, LeBron, that's kind of crap that you go and make a super team," and then he goes and does the exact same thing.
Exactly.
But, there's so many good players out there.
I just wish it was more spread out. I wish the talent was more spread out.
But how do you do that? From an NBA standpoint, how do you spread the players out? How do you spread the talent out without one team getting all of the wealth of talent?
Well, and see, that's why I want to understand the CBA, because I guess there's more teams that have more money. It's kind of like the MLB, but it's not. I don't know. They have a salary cap, but more teams.
One team gets the bigger one.
More teams have more money to spend on players. It's weird to me. So please, someone out there, tell us how that works, because let's see. I mean, you got some good players on on Memphis. You got players on New Orleans. You got good players. Dallas. You got Dirk. San Antonio. San Antonio's getting a little old though.
San Antonio, yeah. I was just going to ask you about them.
As I say, if these guys were in their prime in San Antonio, they would be able, I think, and they still can hang, with the Warriors, but I think they'd be able to push them out. So,
what's not the lifespan, that's a bad word. What's the career span of an NBA player, the average?
Well, I don't know. Kobe just went, 19, 20 years? Dwayne Wade's on his 14th season.
So I would say
anywhere
around
between,
15.
Yeah, on average 15 to 16. I would say.
I'd say 15 good years. Anybody goes.
But then you
that,
got
probably.
Tim Duncan, who's going on his 21st or 22nd year.
Yeah, well, that guy's just a monster. So
yeah, he knows how to play the game. He knows how to take care of himself. So
I'm not surprised by the Golden State Warriors picking up Durant. Really not.
Well, once you lose to LeBron James, you got to try and get better. So I worry if there's enough ball to go around. Everybody says there is. They pass the ball really well. I get that. I do. Everybody's going to shoot. I get that. But
yeah.
At what point does...
If Kevin Durant had a hard time with Westbrook,
yeah,
what's not to say that he's going to have a hard time with Curry?
With Curry shooting the ball, but Curry passing the ball, or with Curry passing the ball to Klay Thompson, or Draymond Green down low,
Yeah, but does it come down to passing the ball, or does it come down to that TV time?
I don't think the TV time matters, because we're talking about Kevin Durant, and there's people talking about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's TV time's fine.
Yeah, they're talking about him now, but when the season starts,
they'll still be talking. They'll be talking about Golden State and their Big Four. So they'll get their TV time.
Who would have thought Golden State would be the ball club?
I don't know. When we were growing up,
generation,
they had that one player who was always in the dunk contest. But that was about it.
That one player,
Richardson.
One player. Well, I guess Bulls was kind of like my generation growing up,
mine too.
Jordan and all that.
Pippen and Rodman.
Yeah, and then it kind of slowly shifted over to.
I was gonna say the Jazz.
The Jazz was kind of in there for a brief moment.
Lakers.
And then the Lakers kind of had a dominant few years.
They had quite a few years.
Then it was the Heat. The Heat Spurs were kind of back and forth.
It went Lakers, then Celtics.
Magic was in there too.
Magic were in there for a little bit.
I guess it's been spread around. I guess that's just the NBA and how they do it. I don't know.
It's weird though. It's definitely weird, and we look forward to next season, for sure.
I'll watch a few games.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. I can almost guarantee that when the schedule comes out, Golden State will be playing Cleveland either on Christmas or on a holiday or opening day. Something interesting to watch out for. So, we doing a 10-minute misconduct today?
We can.
Do we have?
We could look it up.
We could look up some things here. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and do a 10-minute misconduct. It's basically when we talk about any bad stuff that's happened sports related, or we try to stick to sports. I mean, we could go into how Hillary didn't get charged, but it's a topic for another day. We also, I think next week we're gonna get into the World Cup of hockey. That's gonna be started playing in August. So late August, early September, I believe. And so we're gonna want to attack that right away. James Jones.
Yes,
John Jones.
I forgot about that. That alerted me this morning, and I was like, "Oh, that's 10-minute misconduct material."
I thought the same exact thing. So, what are your thoughts about it? You're more a UFC guy than I am, but
let me set the timer. All right, let's go. 10 minutes on the clock. John Jones. So basically, what happened, I guess, was he got in trouble for a dope ring. Let's see if I can pull it up on the phone real quick so I can explain it a little bit better.
My thoughts on it right here are why 2 days before the fight? Why? I mean, maybe they tested them this yesterday or something, or 2 days ago, and it came back yesterday, and they just decided to come out with it. I mean, to me, that's a little sketchy. It's hurting the sport. You want to see these guys fight. You want to be able to see John Jones versus Cormier. I mean,
Yeah. So
there was a huge thing to like Cormier beat him or own the interim belt, and they've been wanting to fight for a while, and the fans want to see that. And now they're not going to see that. Imagine how many people bought tickets to go see this fight.
UFC 200. It's huge. I mean, it's 200 fights, and he got
and their main
he
cards
denied
just got
doping basically. So yeah, and we're going to watch fights this weekend. And it's a huge event. They were John Jones was supposed to fight
Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, and that was like going to be the shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they had a fight lined up because it was an interim belt that went to Cormier. It was Jones's belt initially, and fans been wanting to see this. And we had friends that are buying the fights, and this is one of the fights we wanted to see when we go over there Saturday. Call out to Jesse Ernst and his family for buying the fights, but now we're going to see Brock Lesnar, which I mean I guess we can still be excited about because we haven't seen him in
that'll be
years,
cool.
But
but
this is the fight that everybody wanted to see.
Yeah. So like the way I look at it is, one, good on the UFC for doing something about it and not pushing it under the rug. Two, it's really kind of like crappy for us as the fans because, like you said, people are going to pay for this fight to see those two fight, and they're not going to be able to see it. And that's sad, but at the same time, I'm absolutely happy that the UFC is doing something.
Yeah.
Because as a culture and stuff, as sports fans, we can't have, that kind of stuff going on and not... and have it pushed under the rug nothing
I think
happened.
too many sports do push it under the rug. So maybe it's good for the sport that they're coming out clean. They're stopping it before it comes out afterwards, but just so they can make a quick buck. I understand. That's good. Good morals. Good on you.
But he denied it too at first.
He did deny it, and even in his interview today, he's very emotional and he apologized. He still doesn't think he did any wrongdoing, and I don't know. I don't know the whole story. I don't know if maybe he, had some vitamins or whatever. They have protein shakes, whatever, to possibly come back as one of their drugs. Every league has different drug policy, different drugs on the list. So I do believe, though, that it just hurts the sport in general. Either way.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of sore for a little while for the UFC.
But if the UFC comes out and handles it and says, "Hey, you know what? We want to be a pure sport. We don't want to be drug related, and we apologize to the fans that this happened, last minute. But we do not want to be a sport to where we just push things under the rug and move on from there." So good for the UFC, bad for John Jones, and maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see him fight Cormier. I don't know.
Later on, maybe
UFC 201 or
I don't know.
Maybe they can pair him up with Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor again, the rematch there. So.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Another thing on 10-minute misconduct that I want to touch. So. Everybody is backing out of the Olympic Games, and I want to put up.
Oh yeah!
I want to put up the Olympic Committee for voting in Rio as the place to be to hold the 2016 Summer Olympics.
Well,
I think that I was not for it because I think Chicago was in.
Well, and you got to think when they bid for these places and when they vote on these places, it's years ago.
Yeah, I understand that, but Rio was never in a good spot when they voted it in, and it's in an even worse spot. And not only is it disease infested and polluted, there's corruption. the main reason why all these athletes, especially like the golf and the basketball players, are not coming is everybody says it's because of Zika virus, but it's really the lack of security and in the corrupt government that they have. So
And they've always had a corrupt government. I understand that, and they've always had the pollution. But there's also the pathogens in the water, and there's some things you can't account for. I totally agree with you. They should never have voted Rio in. I mean, there's so many better places, and I mean, I don't think
they've never had an Olympics.
Summer Olympics here in the U.S.
Have
they? I'm sure they have.
Yeah,
but
they had Atlanta in '96 when the girls won the gymnastics and they were the underdogs.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
That's when they did have. I want to say that was the last time they had Summer Olympics. Was the Atlanta 1996, but they had never had Olympic Games hosted in the Southern Hemisphere, never once, other than Australia. But they've never had it like in South America or Africa.
I thought they did have it in Rio one time.
No, they had the World Cup.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
They had the World Cup.
Well, and speaking about that, this just proves to you how stupid it is to go down there. So they had the World Cup down there. They built a $1 billion stadium, and now it's a parking lot for school buses.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's a poor country. Billions of dollars have to be put into making all these Olympic facilities for these athletes. Housing, restaurants, golf course this year. Think there's like a whitewater rafting, swimming pools, soccer stadiums, practice facilities for all that.
Everything has to go into
billions of dollars. So they spend billions of dollars putting this together in a country
that doesn't even have the money to do it.
That's never going to be used ever again.
And that's proof with the World Cup. I think you're right.
That's why the Winter Olympics.
I think Rio looks like a cool like town to visit, maybe vacation. But for the Olympics and for such a major sporting event, I disagree with it. So,
I had some high hopes when the World Cup was there because I thought they did a pretty good job as hosting the World Cup. But
my nipples are showing today, so I guess.
As far as them preparing themselves appropriately to handle an international sporting event of this caliber, I just don't think they're ready. And I look forward to the Summer Olympics. I look forward to any Olympics,
yeah.
So
absolutely.
So I'll watch like the dumbest thing on there, I'll watch rowing. I'll watch it all, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You just want to see these amazing athletes who spend so many years training for this moment. But you got to think, look at how many athletes train for this moment, and you're going to put them in harm's way. I just don't understand.
Well, that's the other thing too. We got a bunch of people backing out, not only from our country but other countries as well.
Yeah. England.
Exactly, and this is supposed to be like the top sporting event where it's like the most competitive because it's the best talent in the world. But you're not going to get the best talent in the world in this Olympics because the best talent doesn't want to risk their lives, or their families going.
They know their careers are bigger than what the risk is higher than the reward.
So I'm not going to say that this Olympics is going to be a joke. I just don't think
it's not going to be as good as it once was.
Yeah, it's not going to be. You're not going to see world records being broken. You might in swimming because Phelps is back.
Yeah.
But those guys that do like the triathlon events, they got to swim in the polluted ocean.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how
I wouldn't want to do that.
I don't know. They're going to have to do a lot of cleanup in a month here.
And then for some, this is their last and only chance for Olympics, too, because, 4 years, it only comes every 4 years.
Exactly. So I think this might be Phelps' last year, for sure. So, I mean, you got to make the most of it. And Rio, you got to clean up your shit. The Olympic Committee, you got to clean up your shit, too.
Pull it together. And that concludes 10-Minute Misconduct.
All right, guys. A little preview. Next week, like I said, World Cup of Hockey. I think that's.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
We're gonna talk about that next week. If any other sports news comes out, we'll go ahead and bring that to you and bring you our insight. Obviously, we're not breaking news kind of podcast, but we will bring that to you.
ESPN, The Body Issue. It's out there.
That's out there too. Go ahead and get your copy if you are that kind of person. Just kidding. I have it. Anyways, we might even venture off a little bit. I am a huge Game of Thrones fan. We both are.
Maybe just do a random episode of random topics.
Yeah, maybe do a little randomize next week. Talk a little predictions of season 7, and then we know it's going to be pushed back, and we know that there's going to be 15 episodes left after what we saw. So
I bet you they do 10 this next one, and then 5 after that.
They're going to split it up. I hear 8 and 7 maybe, or 7 and 6. I heard 15. I heard 13. Either way, if you want to talk Game of Thrones,
we're getting off topic.
We'll get back to that too. But thanks for watching us today. We appreciate it. And this is Basement Floor Radio signing off. I'm Tyler.
I'm Jake. Peace.